My name is Gladys, I'm an artist and I work with handmade felt. The premise of the exhibition links into a journey that I was already on. The commission provided me with an opportunity to make space for a complex and personal story, the story of my Dutch-Indonesian family, on a platform where such a space has not been available to me before. The pieces I made build on an earlier body of work called Hinterland, which consists of a series of ancestral healing costumes. But where Hinterland shone a light on the often traumatic and silent stories of my ancestors in the former Dutch East Indies, I pretty much left myself out of it. This new work begins to explore my own position within this history and my relationship to it. Showing this work here, in this very building, originally built by a National Institute to display its colonial wealth and economic power, positions the work very differently than it would if it was in an art gallery and provides a powerful context. I made 3 pieces for the museum in response to the theme home. Felt is typically made of sheep's wool and involves a long process of laying out fibers, of wetting them, and of rubbing, rolling, and manipulating by hand. I've used wool from the Texel sheep. This is a Dutch breed from the island of Texel in the north of Holland, from which ships from the Dutch East Indies Company set sail in the 17th and 18th century. Some pieces also incorporate wool grown in Somerset, where I live, as well as vintage Indonesian batik from Java, which was dyed with natural dyes and date back to the late 40s and early 50s. The first work is tampat. It consists of 3 mats that together form a large circle. The word tampat derives from the Malay tempat tidur, which means place of sleep. Lying down this large mat is the act of demanding space for a complex history that is still not well known in the Netherlands, and space for myself to explore this. It's also a symbol for having to make a home from nothing, with very few possessions, when world events force you to leave your country of birth. With it, I also question the notion of the so-called good immigrant, who quietly assimilates and doesn't stand out, and I ask where you feel at home when your origins are in multiple cultures and how the concept of race impacts this. It explores Eastern virtues of being modest against more Western notions of taking up space, a conscious challenge to myself, and an acknowledgement of internalized cultural conflicts. The text reads, I am, here am I. The second work, Threads, contains 6.4 kilometers of hand-spun tassel yarn, which represents the 6,421 nautical miles between Surabaya and Rotterdam. This is the journey that my grandparents and father took in 1950 on board the SS Somersetshire. The title refers to connections between past and present, as well as conflicting loyalties that can pull in all directions. The loyal dog is a play on this too, mixed with the term Anjing Belanda, or Dutch dog. This was an insult used against Eurasians and later became accompanied by a wave of violent killings during the Indonesian Revolution against Dutch colonial rule. In the Netherlands, food has become synonymous with Indo-identity, as have the ulekan and the cobek, the pestle and mortar, represented in the third piece. Using a cobek is a way of asserting one's identity and passing on a culture, but I also question the romanticism projected onto this object. Much like Indo cuisine such as the famous rijsttafel, Indos were the direct result of the colonial system itself, children of European men and often enslaved Indonesian women. It is said that we are what we eat. The title of this work, Selamat Makan, means enjoy your meal. Looking at it now, I would say that this work provides a snapshot in time of my journey with identity. The subject of home and belonging is something that has touched me for much of my life, both as a person of mixed heritage growing up in the Netherlands and as an EU resident living in the UK. Perhaps it is for that reason that I am drawn to make felt, an ancient material from nomadic cultures, which for thousands of years has offered us protection, safety, and a home.